So, what is consciousness? The big question, right? Well, the answer is simple, and it really depends on your ability to understand and grasp the realization. Consciousness is your current field of experience. It's you. Consciousness, technically speaking, it's you. But it's difficult to fathom it, and more so, it's difficult to comprehend and understand or realize. More than understanding, it's difficult to realize the gravity of that realization, or the gravity of that statement, sort of speaking. But consciousness is simple. Consciousness is you. And so now let's do a few mythbusters, or rather let's do a few reality checks, or let's do a kind of like a fact check, if you will. So statement, I'll make some statements. So statement number one: consciousness is produced by the brain. Well, if you think that's true, that's now let's contemplate on that, shall we? Consciousness cannot be produced by the brain because, see, first of all, there is no, I mean, why conclude that? Why make that conclusion that consciousness is produced by the brain? First of all, see, consciousness is fundamental. It's like the baseline. Brain, this thing that's inside. So if somebody, uh so let's say I do a brain surgery, I get a brain surgery done for myself. And when the doctors, they open up, so this is the skin, right? You can tear the skin. Under that there's the skull. I get that. The skull can be opened and then you'll see the brain. What awakened people, so this is the claim made by awakened people. And you have to realize, the moment you have a few awakenings of yourself, you will realize this entire vision field. Like, first of all, this is an imagination that when you cut open my forehead and then my skull, you see the brain. Yes, that will happen. I'm not denying it. Of course, like, you have to be crazy to deny that. But the point is that right now I'm making this story. I'm telling you a story about a brain that's here. Can you see my brain right now? You can't, right? Because I the because right now in this consciousness, this person who is making this YouTube video explaining consciousness, this person is not showing his brain. You get what I'm trying to say? See, whatever I'm going to explain in this video, you have to have some kind of a like a preliminary consciousness experience. You have to have some idea, your own idea of what consciousness is. And from that point, you should have a starting point. If you just have no idea what consciousness is, and if you think that because I don't know what consciousness is, let me watch this video because this guy claims to know what consciousness is, so I'm gonna know. It's like, like if you don't know calculus, or if you want to understand some particular concept in mathematics or physics, what do you expect? You go on YouTube, you search that topic, right? Let's say you don't know what a rhombus is and the properties of a rhombus in mathematics. So you want to go on YouTube and search the properties of rhombus, and I want to study about rhombus, right? So you will come up with several videos that's going to explain what a rhombus is. And if you don't know what a rhombus is, you don't have to have any uh, preconceived ideas, or you don't need to have any kind of basic, I mean, you do need to have some basic understanding. Like, first of all, you need to know, like, if you want to watch that video in English or Hindi or any other language, so you need to have some basic fundamental knowledge. Like, you need to know some language in order to understand, because the person who's going to explain what a rhombus is, that person is going to use a human language, and you need to know that same language. Otherwise, you won't understand anything from that video. You also need to know what a straight line is. You need to know some basic stuff, right? Like a straight line, what a point is, and what, like, like rhombus is a 2D, so you need to know the difference between two-dimensional and three-dimensional objects. So from that sense, like, yes, so in even like if you want to study what a rhombus is, but then again what I'm saying is, if you want to study what a rhombus, it's much more simple, because you're just going to use rational thinking, and you're going to study. That's why science is simple. Like, see, if you follow a rational mindset, science is actually quite simple, and which is a good thing. But from when it comes to consciousness, consciousness is so fundamental. It's kind of like, if you want to know the meaning of a word, you look up about it on the dictionary, right? If you, let's say, you want to, you don't know what the meaning of the word smartphone is, or a microphone. If you want to know the meaning of the word microphone or a camera, right? So you can just Google it, and the Google will search some kind of a dictionary website and bring up a definition to you. But the thing is, when you search the definition of a camera, it will say like it's a device of technology, of human technology, that uses that is used to capture photographs or videos. It also captures audio. Microphone is a device that captures audio, and then it processes the audio and stores the audio in different computer devices, right? So, um, see, now, to understand the definition of a microphone, you need to know certain basic stuff, right? What a device is, what technology is, what a computer device is. So, in the microphone, there are, I don't know, know exactly, I'm not a microphone expert, but I know the basics, right? In microphone, there are some magnets or stuff, right? Like transponders, I'm not exactly sure, but they capture the audio. So, basically, audio is waves, right? Energy fields. So microphone, it captures those energy fields, and they can store it. Now, I don't know exactly how it does, but basically it's like converts this audio source, or which is an energy. This auditory energy is being converted to electrical energy. So that is how this electrical energy is getting transferred through these wires, and getting transferred to my computer here, and the computer is storing the device. Now, there's also a lot of other processes that is happening in the background, like the microphone, like I'm recording this audio on my laptop using the default software that is installed on my operating system. So the software is capturing the audio, and the software is basically um, storing the audio in some computer zeros and one format, right? So that is how the audio is ultimately being stored, which is basically, because this is a wired microphone, so the energy that is, the computer is receiving is just electrical energy. um Now, see, the point is, in order to understand what a microphone is, you can search on the internet, and you will get the definition in using other words. But when it comes to consciousness, consciousness is so fundamental that in order to define it would be counterintuitive, and it would be challenging, because how do you define a word that is like the base, the root word? Like, if you want to know what a microphone is, so in the definition there would be words like electrical signals or transponders or something, right? Like wires, electric wires. If it's a wired microphone, then you can ask, well, I don't know what a wire is, or I don't know anything, I don't know what electrical means, or what is electricity. Then you have to define what electricity is. But then in electricity, you will say, when you define the word electricity, you will use words like electrons and the movement of electrons, right? Now, when it comes to movement of electrons, what if you say, like, I don't know what electrons is? Then you're going to say that, yeah, electrons are those particles which are rotating the proton. If you take an atom, then electrons are revolving, whatever, right, outside the proton. So you don't know. Now you say, what is an atom, what is a proton? So this is kind of like goes in circles. See, so in same ways, consciousness is like, so if you want to even ask what is electron and then what is an atom, so it'll go back in circles. But when it comes to consciousness, consciousness is this, whatever you're experiencing right now. Like, so if you're watching this YouTube video, see, right now, maybe you're just lying down on your bed. Let's say it's late night, because say when I'm recording this video, it's late night. Let's say my recording scenario, this is my bedroom, and I'm kind of having like I've turned on all the lights, and I have a like a face light or some kind of a light that is falling on my face. And it's kind of a, like a night situation where I'm going to record this video, and then I'm going to, after I'm done with the recording, I'm going to go to sleep. So let's say this kind of situation resonates with you while you're watching this video. Now, if you're watching this video late at night, let's say you're lying down, you're watching this video on your smartphone. So, so consciousness is this experience that you're lying down, and you're just lying down, and you have this, see, you're lying down, and you're watching a video on YouTube. Fine, okay. Now that is consciousness. But consciousness can be different things. It will always, see, everything that you experience is you. It will always be you. Um so consciousness is, so going back to that question, consciousness is created by the brain, or it's processed by the brain. um T Consciousness cannot be processed by the brain, or rather, see, this is a story, like this is not accurate. Like when you want to understand what consciousness is, eh, y- and it's even misleading, because consciousness, if you say consciousness is produced in the brain, then what about near death experiences? There are so many things that shows that consciousness can exist without brains. And even, like, I want to, like, I just see the thing about consciousness and this kind of stuff is it's difficult to communicate, because it's the challenge of it is, it's just hard, because this language is not enough. Our language is not enough to communicate consciousness. Our language is just not enough. I'm sure even you know it. See, um, anybody who has an idea of what consciousness is, they know it. It's just that it's very difficult to explain it. But then you might say, what's the point of explaining it? Um, See, I have a purpose behind this video. I'm just not making this video for no reason. So I've been thinking, like, on my YouTube channel, I can post any kind of videos. I play video games. I watch a lot of movies. I'm really passionate about movies. I watch a lot of movies. So I think that I'm gonna post movie reviews. Let's say I'm gonna post video games, gameplays, and stuff, and which is fine. It's all good. But it's just something that consciousness. The thing that I'm most passionate about is consciousness, because frankly speaking, consciousness is fundamental to everything. Consciousness is is basic, like whatever it is. Like, even when you're playing a video game, that's still consciousness. Nothing happens outside consciousness, and everything is consciousness, no matter what you're talking about. You see any video on YouTube, or you're talking to someone, or you're having any kind of experience. Let's say you go scuba diving, or you go to paragliding. Let's say you go out, you go on a trip to some, or let's say you're out hiking with your friends, right? You go on a hiking trip. Even that is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Even when you're watching the sunset, let's say you're out on a date with your girlfriend, right? That's still consciousness. Everything is consciousness. You talking to other people. That's still consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Nothing is fundamental than consciousness. Consciousness is it's like a projector that's projecting this experience. Uh, that you're going through. And everything is consciousness. Nothing is impossible to think out of consciousness. Nothing is existence is consciousness. Existence parallel, or existence is how do you say, synonymous to consciousness. Those are like the same words. Existence. This exists. This hand exists. And what is this hand? What is this hand? It's consciousness. It's just consciousness. The consciousness of having a hand. That's it. Consciousness of being a human recording a YouTube video. That is what consciousness is. Consciousness is being a human watching a YouTube video. That's it. That's what consciousness is. So, any experience that you have in life, because see, what is life? What does life, or human life? Um, what does life ultimately, like, bottom line, when you talk about the bottom line, what is life? Life is a bunch of experiences. It's like a one continuous experience, but then because for us, from because of our attention span, life is like so big. It seems like so long. Oh my God, 70 years. A man lives for 80 years. It's so long, right? It's long from our point of patience or our point of as far as attention span is considered of a human. Life is long. It's the same thing. Like you might think, so like a mosquito or a fly, a house fly, right? It lives for how many hours, right? Maybe 72 hours or something. A fly or a little bug or something that lives for a few days, right? That's the entire lifespan. So from the point of view of the bug, that life probably seems like as long as a human life, right? Or like elephants live longer, right? Elephants live like 200 years or something, 150 years, 200 years, or turtles, right? Turtles live 200 years, right? There are animals which live longer than humans. So what do you think? Do they get bored of their life? No, because from their point of view, for them, because time, the perception of time is so relative that from their point of view, it seems like living as same as us, probably like 70, 75 years. So the point of consciousness is like when you say consciousness is produced by the brain, that's really a story. That's a statement that you're making. But that doesn't mean that that's true, because what is truth? Truth is whatever you can understand. See, if you can correct a mistake, like you can feel, like if you have a feeling that that's not right, then it's probably not true. So when you say like consciousness is produced by the brain, so then like it's not accurate to say, because see, did you ever have any conscious experience other than being yourself? If you didn't, then then you can say like consciousness. Then like what about solipsism? You might say like solipsism is true, because if you think of from a completely rational point of view, then solipsism appears to be true. It's like I'm the only human that exists. But then again, if you kind of contemplate, you will feel like there's something missing, like something is missing in that entire statement. Uh, Solipsism is the ultimate truth. There's only one human, and that's me, or something like that, or only I exist. But there's some kind of a miscommunication in that. See, if you say solipsism, by solipsism, no, solipsism can be interpreted in different ways. Like you might think that solipsism could say like, if you think like for a if you for if for you solipsism means that only I, as in like this human, exists. That's then that's a echo chamber. That's kind of like a bubble. That's not reality, because if you have some kind of a awakening, you'll realize that if you say that solipsism is only I exist, and by I you mean everything. If you think of I, if you don't have a human identity, if you think that you're not a human, or you're everything, this human is just a part of that everything, then good, then that's true. Then that, from that point of view, solipsism holds true, because you are everything. Or at least that is what you think of yourself. That is how you identify with yourself. When you say self, everything that is in your conscious field. Uh, so basically, consciousness again, kind of like revolving and reverting around the same thing. Consciousness is this. This is consciousness. That's it. Consciousness is this moment where this human is making funny sounds with his mouth. See, what is this? If you remove all projected meaning, what am I doing right now? I'm just making noises with my mouth. You know English. If you understand English, you will understand what I'm saying. If you're deaf, you can't hear sounds. Then it's like a person making funny movements in front of camera, moving his lips. That's it. It's all a matter of perspective. This is not absolute truth. This is relative truth. So, for a blind person, it'll be all just sounds. Reality is just sounds. So, consciousness or reality is whatever consciousness appears to be at that moment. That's it. I mean, If you've had out of body experience, that is consciousness. That is also consciousness is like this dynamic field. It 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 exists. It can take any format. It can take any kind um, or source. It can be anything. It is unlimited, and it exists independent of human body. But when human consciousness is considered, then yeah, then it's humans. But then again, there's no such thing as like a separate human consciousness, because mm, uh, when you're drunk or when you're asleep and when you're dreaming, that is still consciousness, right? Now you will say like this is all in the brain. Not really. I mean, it's kind of like you're making up stories that this is brain, because you can see things, and whatever you see, it's like, yeah, I can see it. I can see this microphone. I can hold this microphone, which is proof that the microphone exists. But not really. I mean, it's because this is all sensory experience. If we remove all the sensory experiences, nothing exists. Everything is just a sensory experience field, which exists because you exist, and because you are the one experiencing it, or you are the one conscious of it, which means that you are consciousness. What else are you? How can you be a human? Like, those are, when you say, see, the problem with saying like I'm a human is that it takes you away from the truth. First, it begins like that. See, this is how deception happens. Deception begins with this thought pattern that I'm a human. Then the human will start thinking, oh no, I'm not just a human, I'm an Indian. And I'm not just another Indian, I'm an Indian Hindu or an Indian Muslim. And I'm a male. I'm not a female. As you can see, I'm a male. I have beard. I'm a male. See, this is how it starts. It begins with this is how the human overlays. Now the human starts forming stories. I'm from this city in India. I grew up here. This is my mother tongue. That those are other countries. This is my political view. I am either a leftist, centrist, or right wing. I am Hindu, Muslim. I'm male, female. I speak this language. This is that, and this is how all the stories happen. So that is the problem, because nobody is going to be satisfied. And see, this is how the human psychology works. The human psychology is sneaky. It begins with this identity that I'm a human. When you're growing up and you're becoming like when you were a baby, you don't think of yourself as a human. You don't think of yourself as anything, because you just exist. And as soon as you start growing up, these identities start forming. First identity is that you're a human. And then the next layer of identity is that your religion, whatever. Third layer is your language, linguistic identity. And then comes up gender identity. As you grow up, you develop your sexual organs, then sexual identity, gender identity. All these identities keep forming one after the other. Then what kind of a person you are, what is your belief system, whatever, what do you like, dislike, what is your like ethical identities. Like, do you see, you think like this is right, this is wrong, this is bad, this is good, those kind of identities, those are all identities that builds up. And in the process, what happens is that you forgot the truth that you are a consciousness constructing different identities. That is the only problem that exists with like with that. You might say like, who cares? Like, you know what? When you think like, I'm not a human, like you want me to think of like myself as this consciousness, it's kind of like it doesn't have a face. Consciousness doesn't have a face. Consciousness doesn't have a shape or a form, or how big is consciousness or how small is consciousness. So man, it's kind of easy, don't you think, if we think of ourselves as human? Yeah, sure, it's easy. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sure, go ahead, think of yourself as a human. Think of yourself as whoever you want to be. There's no big deal. But the only problem is that whenever you think of yourself as any finite self, you're going to keep switching, because the mind is going to construct stories based on that. That is the only problem. I'm a black person. I'm not a white person. As you can see, I'm not a white person. I'm a brown person. So these stories, these constructions are the problem, because that will take you away from the truth that you are consciousness. So that is the reason, like, you need to, like, start, like, not identifying with anything, but rather remember who you are, because that is all what consciousness work, meditation, yoga, right? So they say do meditation, do yoga. What is the point of all this? This is all consciousness work. You need to be mindful that when you're meditating or when you're doing yoga, you're doing consciousness work. The purpose of it being that for you to realize that you are consciousness. That's it, man. That's all it really what boils down to. So yeah, just it's important. And yeah, thank you for watching.